Today, we become legends.
Yes, you read the title correctly. I think it might be a hot take, but I genuinely think Smite 2 is really good right now. I've been playing the game a ton on my own time lately as well as streaming it, and I've been having a blast. There's a lot of doomer sentiment in the community at the moment, and at least some of it is understandable. The game still has issues such as lack of content and replayability, more bugs than Smite 1, etc. And the recent layoffs at Hi-Rez don't instill a massive amount of confidence that the team will have the funding to get the job done. But I think the game has improved tenfold from when we first got to play it in those early alpha weekends, and the progress being made is pretty incredible. As I said, I've been streaming the game a lot on Twitch lately, and I'm actually live as this video goes out, so feel free to drop by and watch me pwn some noobs or discuss your own thoughts on the game with me in chat. I think probably the biggest area of improvement over the last couple of months is not the God releases, though the progress on those has been very welcome. It's actually been in the core game feel. That nebulous term that literally no one used to describe Smite 1 ever, but has become a core focus of Smite 2's development for good reason. Those early alpha weekends and even the first patch or two of 24/7 access were extremely rough in this regard, and the fanfare around improving this aspect of the game was justified. The game just felt terrible to play, and it doesn't matter how many gods you have, or how cool the new item system is, or how many awesome skins you have, or anything else really. If the core game feels bad to play due to mismatched animations, input delay, sound lag, and other things, then the game isn't going to be fun. The progress made on this front has been insane in the last couple of months, and I think it's flown under the radar a bit due to the problem and its fixes being hard to describe. You'll see all the new gods and game modes front and center on the patch notes, Titan Talk, and content creator videos, but you don't really see all the subtle tweaks to the foundation of the game. And I think a lot of people who tried the game in the alpha weekends and wrote it off until free to play haven't experienced what Smite 2 actually feels like now. So I implore you, if you have access to the game and haven't played in the last couple of months, give it another try, because it feels light years better than those early builds on this issue, and some gods like Susanoo, Neith, and Loki, to name a few, actually feel better to play in Smite 2 than they do in Smite 1 in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, the core game feel issues are mostly solved on a general high level. There are still some issues with specific gods like Bellona's auto attack animations being very janky and having bad hit reg, but most gods, especially the newer ones being ported over, I feel absolutely amazing. And it really seems like the devs are getting more used to the UE5 workflow and making things feel even better than Smite 1. Game feel is a big issue that's been mostly solved, but there are of course other issues Smite 2 is facing, like the small god pool, which for me, I'm very happy with how the progress on that is going. For the last two patches, we've received 2 gods every 2 weeks, and as per a recent Titan Talk, we're getting Ra and Sobek this week, and then the next patch after that will have actually 3 gods. Probably some combination of Thor, Poseidon, Nemesis, and Khepri, as they seem the furthest along in development based on the Titan Talk discussions, and I'm pretty confident they can achieve their goal of 50 gods by the end of January. Of course, the game will still have way less variety than Smite 1 even at that point, and it will take a couple of years to really get to that level, but it will have at least enough at that point to not see the same 5 gods every game, and for hopefully most of the player base to have at least a few gods they really enjoy, especially since the actual god choices themselves have improved dramatically since the team pivoted to listening to more community feedback, as opposed to whatever metrics they were using to decide before that got us Kurnonos, Kukulkan, Shak, and Odin before the likes of Thor, Ra, Hercules, and Poseidon. The direction has shifted and the pace of god releases has massively sped up, and I'm personally already feeling a massive difference in variety and replayability in my games, even with just a few extra gods that they pushed out in the last month or so. This has had some knock-on effects, of course, since they pushed basically the entire team onto making gods as fast as possible, which I do think was the right call, but it has meant we've not had any new or reworked items in a long time. Skins have been completely halted, we've had no meaningful conquest changes in the last few patches, etc. But I do think it's worth it, since now that the game feel issues are mostly solved, god variety is the next biggest issue to tackle, and they're throwing their all at it. I've mentioned them already, but I also think the Titan Talks are an amazing addition. As an ambassador, I know things you don't about the near-term direction of the game, and while that's still true, and trust me, there's some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline leading up to January, the Titan Talks have at least equalized that imbalance a little more, and people can now hear from official sources about the direction of the game, rather than sometimes inaccurate or accidentally misleading data mining. I can't imagine the frustration I'd be feeling if the community still had no idea that Ra, Thor, and Poseidon were coming soon, but I knew that and had to keep it quiet. So yeah, I think the Titan Talks are amazing for building up hype and expectations for the near-term future of the game. They can't share everything, of course, and as I said, there's still some things further down the line that I know about and can't share, which has me really excited, but in general, the talks have been really great at alleviating some of that disconnect with the community. We had a Titan Titan talk fairly recently on matchmaking as well, where we got some info on improvements being made, and while it could be placebo, I feel like my games have gotten better in quality in the last few weeks, and I've seen way less one-sided complete stomps and quite a bit less of players who do nothing but push their lane and miss every ability in my games recently, which is really good to see. Don't get me wrong, the matchmaking is still way worse than Smite 1, but it is improving, and Smite 1 has not only 4 times the active players, but also years of history to pull from in terms of matchmaking that Smite 2 doesn't have. So in theory, it should only be up from here in terms of matchmaking quality, which is good to see. I've said it before and my opinion hasn't changed, but the new item system is as fun as ever, and I think they're really settling into a nice balance between keeping it familiar and simple enough for casuals, but allowing higher level players or visitors from other more hardcore MOBAs to find some depth and explore, theorycraft, and push themselves if they want to take the game very seriously. And while cosmetics are on hold until January at the earliest while they work on gods and the core game, I think the Ascension passes set a great example of genuinely exciting cosmetics that I'm willing to pay for. The whole idea of customizing almost every element of your loading card, from frames to badges to Smite 1 mastery to titles to trackers, is really awesome. And in a weird way, it increases god variety, as at least for me, I've been playing some gods I wouldn't normally play to try and level up their mastery pass to unlock their hilarious troll global emotes or sick loading frames. Hopefully this sets a standard for more unique and exciting cosmetics going forward when they do start adding more of them to the game, because in Smite 1 it was really just skins and that's it. All the rest of the cosmetics were really just stuff to fill up chests like death markers. Do more stuff like loading frame customization, or even an expansion of the color forge idea into straight up modular skins with hot swappable weapons, armor pieces, hairstyles, colors, etc. It's a lot of extra work, but for me personally, I'd be willing to pay a premium for a skin with that much reusability. But anyway, got a little sidetracked there. Smite 2 is still facing issues, that's for sure. We still need more gods. A lot of the items are pretty boring or could be reworked. We need Joust and Assault ASAP. We need events. We need a better home screen and better environment backgrounds for menus. Spectator still needs some improvements going into the Vegas LAN. Conquest could use some more stuff and fixes to the geometry to make it feel better to navigate. There's still tons left to do, but I do see way more Doomer sentiment in the community than I think is justified given how good the game feels at the moment. I don't know if it's just Doomers being Doomers and being the loudest voice in the room, or if people wrote the game off in the alpha weekends and are waiting for free to play so they don't see the major progress being made. Or maybe I'm just delusional and the game is complete trash and I'm on copium. But right now, I'm really enjoying the game, and I think it's very playable and better than the community gives it credit for. And I think when the game goes free to play and there's a flood of people who didn't want to spend $30 when Smite 1 is free, the sentiment will probably shift a lot, as I truly think a lot of people either bought in early and wrote off the game due to its admittedly terrible state at launch, or are waiting for free to play. So as more players come in from free to play, I think they'll see the game for what it actually is right now, a ton of fun that just needs some more time to cook in terms of adding content. Anyways though, thanks for listening to my ramblings. What are your thoughts on the game right now, and when did you last play? I'm genuinely curious what is keeping people away from the game at the moment, so drop your thoughts down below and I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.